and our visit with Joe brought to you by A&A Construction. Joe, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Todd. How you doing?
Oh, wonderful, except I looked at that Pirates score yesterday, and I saw what happened to Mr. Bednar, and I thought, oh, no. They've been pretty hopeful about David Bednar so far in this spring, and you get things like that yesterday, and you got the here we go again syndrome clicks in, and certainly Pirates fans can't be blamed for that, but we're hoping that's not indicative of the way things are going to go for him again.
Yeah, sure. It definitely can raise an eyebrow. The way I think I look at any of these outings in spring training, are you seeing any patterns? Are you seeing extremes? Yesterday was definitely an extreme for one game, giving up 5 runs in a third of an inning against, admittedly, a few of the Twins, but mostly minor league players. So does this continue? The previous 3 outings, all 3 scoreless innings, pretty tidy, witnessing a couple of those where that fastball was getting on the hitters, much like it did mainly the year prior, back in 23, I mean. So that's the kind of stuff I'm looking at and going, okay, is that fastball getting on the hitters? Does it play like it used to? And I've seen that at least at times in previous outings. Yesterday, some parachute balls and some line drives and some gap shots and everything. A couple of walks in there, I think, too. So it was not a good outing. And so the next time around and the next time around, are we seeing that again? Or are we seeing him, really have that finish with the fastball? And I think those probably, the next couple of outings in the spring actually, I think, do matter for Bednar because David Shelton. Derek Shelton has not. Good morning. Derek Shelton has not named a closer yet. So does he want to go with Bednar? Does he want to go with a committee or somebody else? He hasn't revealed publicly yet. So I think if Bednar has a couple of really solid outings that fastball plays, then it would be an easy choice to bring him back. He's a 2-time All-Star.
Yeah. And, with him, as with any pitcher, of course, but especially with David Bednar, location is so very, very important. If you just miss as a reliever and as a closer, that could really spell your doom. And he's been just missing these last couple of years, and that's really stung him bad. All right, so let's move on. Let's get to some other folks in the bullpen who may have or may not have impressed you. I think Colin Holderman seems to have gotten himself back on track.
Yeah, for sure. And with him, throwing both kinds of fastballs now, trying to incorporate a 4-seam fastball, that's the more of the straighter riding fastball. He's always had that sinker that has had some movement. But, hey, what's a pitch that, he can land and locate for a strike? Maybe throw something a little bit higher in the zone. You don't usually want to throw the slider or the cutter or even, a lot of times a 2-seamer up in the zone. So, okay, throw that 4-seam fastball. He's liking that. That gives him something else to change the eye angle of the hitter a little bit. And then he's also working on a split finger pitch, which he was telling me the other day, that's his best pitch right now. So, the fact that he's continuing to try to get better, he said it on the TV broadcast the other day, and I give him a lot of credit for this, and I'm paraphrasing, but, hey, he's saying I could be really good at the major league level. I know that. But for 4 months, I need to be really good at the major league level for 6 months. Not everyone's going to have a great game every time out, but I get exactly what he's saying. The downturns of the bullpen last year, it seemed like someone was going well and someone wasn't. And then the one that wasn't would come in and that spoiled the game. And then you couldn't really get everybody clicking at the same time. So if the Pirates, they certainly have the capability, the guys that are in that bullpen, if you get all those guys clicking, they're going to win a lot of games because they're probably going to play a lot of close games like they did last year because the offense doesn't, at least on paper, doesn't appear to be a juggernaut. So you're going to have good pitching. It's going to be tight ball games, and so you do definitely need that bullpen to pitch well consistently, even though they are used quite a bit because of so many close games.
Yeah, I did want to bring up one other name from the bullpen and then move on. Carmen Mlodzinski. Early in training camp, of course, we heard that they were exploring him as a starter. We haven't heard much about him since that time as to whether that experiment will continue, in which case probably he goes down to the minors to work himself up into starter mode, or does he stay up with the big team as a reliever? What do you hear about Carmen?
Well, I think what they're trying to do with him is a lot what they ended up doing with Luis Ortiz last year. They found, whether coincidence or by plan, a lot of success with Luis Ortiz working in a hybrid role. He came out, as really as deserving a starting role by the way that he had pitched, but there weren't enough spots. So, okay, you're going to pitch out of the bullpen. That's as old as time, how teams have done that. And he pitched so well out of the bullpen that eventually they had a need in the rotation, and they just slotted him in there. And, of course, other than Skeens, he might have been the best pitcher, at least starting pitcher on the Pirates last year, Luis Ortiz. And I think they might view the same with Carmen Mlodzinski, thinking that he certainly has the capability of being a starting pitcher in college, being a starting pitcher coming up through the minor leagues for the great duration of that journey for him. So why not give him that opportunity? So I think that could be the same thing. If you look at it very simply, if you have good pitchers, the more that the good pitchers pitch, the better chance you have to win the game. And he's a good pitcher. I mean, he's got a career ERA under 3 in his 2 major league seasons. I want to see him pitch more. So, why just limit him to 1 inning? Maybe give him 3 innings sometimes. So I like that idea, and hopefully that works out for him and works out for the Pirates. And if they do need a starting pitcher at some point, maybe they can stretch him out even further because he'll be ready to do so.
Yeah, I've always liked Carmen Mlodzinski. I always think he has a tremendous amount of potential. All right, Joe, let's talk about something really important. The Pirates had the day off the other day. What did Joe Block do with his day off besides laundry?
I wish I had a great answer for you. I was going to go fishing with my in-laws. They came down here to visit, but I ran out of time. So that's the reality of having 3 kids and a family and trying to run your household remotely, from 1,000 miles away, being gone for 6 or 7 weeks at a time. So really it was just a catch-up day for me, which I didn't mind at all, just to relax a little bit and try to get some stuff done. Like basically my taxes is what I'm trying to tell you. So try to work on that. So I got my visor out, and it was great.
Well, you have 3 girls?
2 girls and a boy. So
two girls and a boy, and they're of an age where they can help you with your taxes. They're all under the age of 8, right?
9, 7, and 4. So combined, I think they're almost old enough to help me with their taxes. So we'll see. We'll see. Some of them can add.
Oh yeah. There you go. Well, you get to spring training, and now at those ages, they're of school age, so they're in school. So that has to be kind of difficult. Your family in Pittsburgh, and you're not able to see them for all of those weeks, and they're probably going to seem like they grew about 1.5 feet by the time you get to see them again.
It does, yeah. And I signed up for this, and that's part of the thing. But thank goodness, I live in an age where there's space time. I think back not that long ago. I mean, I'm old enough to remember that when you would travel, you'd have to be tethered to your hotel phone at a certain time and hope they call you, because if you call out on that hotel phone, you're going to have to take out a second mortgage. So, that's the kind of stuff I'm just grateful for now, is that we can stay in touch, and we do. And, that's part of the deal. But once we get back into the regular season, then it's a little bit more frequent back and forth. So that's always good. And I just try to stay as involved as I can. But that's why I didn't do much the other day. So,
hey, a question I asked Greg the other day that I want to ask you as well, because you've been doing this for a while now, and you've met wonderful folks in the broadcast industry. When you go to another town, broadcaster, play-by-play guy, color guy that you can't wait to see and spend some time with and share some stories?
Well, it's a really sad answer to your question. It's Bob Uecker, who was my partner for 4 years. I got to work with him in Milwaukee, and that was always the person that for the last 9 years with the Pirates, I would always, because he stopped traveling in the last few years, I wouldn't see him in Pittsburgh anymore. So every time I'd go to Milwaukee, I'd sit down. And just, I don't even know where the conversation would go. Sometimes it was about baseball. Sometimes it was about, our kids and my wife and his wife, and just talking about families, or it could just be silly nonsense. And, we were just great friends. And, so I'm going to really miss him when we go back to Milwaukee. So that's left a huge hole in my heart. But he was always the one I look forward to visiting with most. But There are others that have great friends all over. A lot of us have come through the minor leagues together at the same time, or have crossed paths well before working in the major leagues. And so it's fun to tell stories like that. I was just visiting with the Twins, Chris Atterbury, yesterday. We both worked in St. Paul together 20-some years ago. So that, that's kind of fun to talk about those days and share it with the younger guys that are sitting around and listening to the stories. I never thought I'd be that guy, but now I'm the one that's telling the stories instead of just listening so much, and that's pretty fun.
Yeah. You think back on those Uecker years for you. I'm sure that you have a treasure trove of stories of Bob Uecker. Is there one or two? Or one short one that you could share with us about your years with Bob?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the conversations we would have, because he played Major League Baseball, so I learned so much about the game from him. I think that's something that probably gets overlooked because of his comedic wit and timing. It's unparalleled in baseball, obviously, and few in comedy could say the same, but really, he's really knew baseball so well, knew people so well, and understood what it took to play the game, what people were going through playing the game, because he's always in the clubhouse, always talking to other guys. They would come over and talk to him, obviously. So I think that's where one of the things I really gained from him is just our conversations of what the player experience is like, and really developing an ability for me to be fair to the player as well as objective to the fan too, because that's really kind of the line that we tell all the time is as announcers is try to bring you what's happening, but really bring you what's happening, not just pile up on somebody, but also still account for, hey, the fan watching can get frustrated at times too. So trying to know both sides and bring it to everybody in a way, I think he was really, really good at that and helped me out a lot. So we'd have a lot of conversations about that. That's just one of the many things.
Yeah, it's a true art form. It really is, and probably no better artist at that than Bob Uecker. Joe, thanks so much for a great week with you here today. You on the game tonight?
Yes, 6 o'clock. It's a night game tonight with the Tigers coming to Lecomte Park.
Beautiful, beautiful. Look forward to it. Thanks, Joe.
All right, thanks, Todd.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
There is Joe Block of the Pittsburgh Pirates, brought to you today by A&A Construction.